In this video, we're diving into some of the darkest and most overlooked secrets in Jujutsu Kaisen. Why did Maki's mother choose to stab Naoya Zenin with her own hands? And why couldn't Suguru Geto absorb Toji Fushiguro's cursed spirit, even though his technique allows him to control curses? Behind the brutal fights and cursed techniques, Jujutsu Kaisen hides painful family ties, strict power rules, and moments that are far more complex than they first appear. Why did Maki's mother choose to stab Naoya Zenin herself? Naoya was already dying, his skull was shattered, and no one was going to heal him with reverse curse technique. So why finish him off? The answer lies in the Zenin clan itself. Naoya and the clan treated women as tools, people with no worth beyond serving men. Naoya once said that a woman who couldn't walk 3 steps behind a man deserved to be killed. In the end, that belief became his own fate. Maki's mother had lived her entire life under that system, ignored, controlled, and silent. She was never allowed to resist, never allowed to speak, and never allowed to choose anything for herself. Years of humiliation and helplessness built up inside her with no way to fight back. But when she saw Naoya helpless on the ground, something changed. For the first time, the man who symbolized everything that ruined her life looked small, fragile, and powerless. The fear that had followed her for so many years was suddenly gone, so she stabbed him, not just to kill him, but to reclaim, for one brief moment, the right to choose her own actions and to end the silence that had defined her entire life. Why couldn't Suguru Geto absorb Toji Fushiguro's cursed spirit in Jujutsu Kaisen? At first glance, it seems strange. Geto's technique allows him to absorb and control cursed spirits once they are defeated or subdued. In theory, as a special grade sorcerer, he should have no problem taking low-level curses. So why couldn't he take Toji's? The answer lies in one strict rule. Geto can only absorb independent cursed spirits that exist on their own, without being bound to any human. Toji's inventory curse was not independent. It was bound to him through a master-servant relationship, meaning it had already lost its autonomy and belonged entirely to Toji. As long as Toji was alive, that bond could not be broken, and the curse would never obey anyone else. Without ownership, Geto had no way to absorb or control it, no matter how skilled he was. This rule is reinforced in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Before attempting to take Rika, Geto needed to kill Yuta first, because the contract between them took priority over cursed spirit manipulation. So Geto didn't fail because he was weak. He failed because the laws of Jujutsu simply didn't allow it. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, power matters, but rules matter even more. Have you ever wondered why Hajime Kashimo was so determined to fight Sukuna? At first glance, it seems strange. Kashimo had never actually met Sukuna in his lifetime. When Sukuna lived 1,000 years ago, Kashimo hadn't even been born. He lived roughly 400 years ago during the Edo period, and everything he knew about Sukuna came from legends, historical records, and stories passed down among sorcerers. But those stories were enough. Sukuna was already a near-mythical figure in Jujutsu history, overwhelmingly powerful, feared by all, and known as the King of Curses. There was no way a battle-obsessed sorcerer like Kashimo wouldn't be fascinated by him. What truly changed Kashimo's fate was a meeting near the end of his life. Kenjaku appeared before him and spoke of the strongest sorcerers in history, confirming that Sukuna stood above them all. At that moment, Kashimo made his decision. He had grown tired of ordinary battles, yet his obsession with fighting the strongest had never faded. So he accepted Kenjaku's offer and made a binding vow, willingly allowing himself to be turned into a cursed object so he could be reincarnated in the future. That's why in the present timeline, Kashimo seeks out Sukuna, because for him, that battle wasn't a sudden impulse. It was a promise made 400 years ago. Why did every one of Gojo's students end up scarred in Jujutsu Kaisen? Yuji Itadori survives, but at a terrible cost. During the Shibuya incident, Mahito shattered him both physically and mentally. He lost fingers and suffered permanent wounds. He lives on as a vessel, paying the heaviest price. Megumi Fushiguro isn't spared either. The scars on his face are only surface level. The real damage lies in repeated head trauma, blood loss, blackouts, and constant overexertion. Nobara Kugisaki is critically injured in her fight with Mahito. It's not just a wound, but a future left uncertain. Maki Zenin is burned nearly beyond recognition in Shibuya, then sacrifices even more in the war against her own clan. She survives, but she is never the same. Panda loses his body, reduced to a core, his strength and presence diminished. Even Yuta Okatsu bears a stitched scar across his forehead. This isn't coincidence. It's the truth of Gojo's era. He taught them how to be strong, but he couldn't shield them from the cruelty of the world. What they inherited wasn't glory, it was damage.